Listen up. There are things in your life that you need to guard like a treasure chest full of gold. You see, in this world, not everyone is rooting for you. Some people pretend to be in your corner, but they're really there to watch you fall. And the problem? Too many of us are out here giving away our power by sharing the wrong things with the wrong people. Today, I'm going to tell you 5 things you should never share with anyone if you want to protect your peace, your purpose, and your prosperity. Because if you don't guard what's valuable, don't be surprised when it gets taken, twisted, or turned against you. When you have a vision, it's exciting. You can see the future so clearly in your mind, and you feel the urge to share it with others. But here's the problem. Most people don't see what you see. They don't have the same passion, the same drive, or the same belief in what's possible. And the moment you start talking about your long-term plans, you invite opinions, doubts, and negativity that can derail you before you even start. Too many dreams die in the mouths of other people. You tell your big idea to a friend or family member expecting support, but instead you get a list of reasons why it won't work. They might not say it directly, but their tone, their hesitation, and their skepticism plant seeds of doubt in your mind. Are you sure that's a good idea? That sounds risky. What if it doesn't work? And before you know it, the fire that was burning inside of you starts to flicker. Sometimes it's not just doubt, it's competition. The moment you reveal your plans, you give someone else a chance to move faster than you. Have you ever shared a business idea only to see someone else launch something similar before you could? That's because not everyone listens to help. Some listen to take. People will act like they're cheering you on while secretly positioning themselves ahead of you. And the worst part, it's usually the people you least expect. Another issue is the energy shift that happens when you talk too much about what you're going to do. When you tell people your goals, you get a sense of satisfaction from their reactions. You feel like you've accomplished something just by speaking it out loud. But here's the truth. Talking is not the same as doing. The more you speak, the less urgency you feel to take action. You trick your brain into thinking you've already made progress when, in reality, you've only wasted time seeking validation. Some people don't want to see you succeed because your success will remind them of their own failures. They'll act like they're looking out for you, but deep down, they don't want you to go further than them. That's why they'll fill your mind with worst-case scenarios and try to keep you in the same place. Not everyone who loves you believes in you. And if you're not careful, their fears will become your fears, and you'll start playing small just to make them comfortable. Your vision is a seed, and in the beginning, it's fragile. It needs to be planted in good soil, watered with faith, and protected from outside forces that could destroy it before it even has a chance to grow. When you expose your vision too early, it's like digging up a seed before it can sprout. It doesn't get a chance to develop roots. That's why so many people start strong but never finish, because they let outside voices interfere with the process. It's not that you should never share your plans. It's about knowing when and with whom. There's a time to keep quiet and a time to reveal. You don't announce a baby before it's conceived, and you don't showcase a masterpiece before it's finished. You have to let your vision grow in the dark before you bring it to the light. Share it only with those who will nourish it, support it, and push you forward, not those who will tear it down. Another danger of sharing your plans too soon is accountability to the wrong people. When you tell the wrong audience about your goals, you create pressure to live up to their expectations. And if things don't go exactly as planned, you feel embarrassed, discouraged, and even ashamed. But when you move in silence, you give yourself the flexibility to adapt, change course, and adjust your strategy without external judgment. You control your narrative instead of letting other people define it for you. Think about all the great achievers in history. They didn't spend their time talking about what they were going to do. They simply did it. They worked in silence, built in private, and let their results make the noise. There's a reason why the most successful people are often the most discreet. They understand the power of focus, the importance of guarding their vision, and the value of execution over explanation. So before you open your mouth to share your next big move, ask yourself, is this the right time? Is this the right person? Is this necessary? Because once you put your plans out there, you can't take them back. And if you want to see your vision become a reality, you have to protect it like your future depends on it, because it does. There are things about you that no one needs to know. Not because you should live in fear or secrecy, but because not everyone can be trusted with your vulnerabilities. The moment you expose your weaknesses to the wrong people, you give them a weapon they can use against you. And in a world where jealousy, competition, and hidden agendas exist, you can't afford to hand out weapons for free. The problem is that most people assume others have good intentions. You think that just because you're honest about your struggles, people will respect that and protect you. But the truth is, some people are just waiting for the right opportunity to use your weaknesses against you. It might not happen today, it might not happen tomorrow, but when the time is right, they will bring it up, whether to discredit you, manipulate you, or turn others against you. Even those who seem harmless can be dangerous. Someone who listens with curiosity today might repeat your words with judgment tomorrow. The coworker you vent to about your mistakes might use that information to get ahead. The friend you confide in about your fears might one day distance themselves, seeing you as less capable than they once thought. People change, relationships shift, and the things you said in moments of trust might come back in ways you never expected. There's also the risk of limiting yourself. When you constantly speak about your weaknesses, you reinforce them in your own mind. Instead of focusing on your strengths and growth, you keep reminding yourself of what you lack. Words have power. The more you declare your shortcomings, the more they become part of your identity. And before long, you're not just someone who struggles with something, you become someone defined by that struggle. You also have to be careful about where you seek comfort. It's natural to want support when you're going through a tough time, but if you're always looking for sympathy, you'll attract the wrong kind of attention. Some people thrive on seeing others struggle because it makes them feel better about their own lives. They'll pretend to listen, but they're really just collecting stories. And when they get the chance, they'll remind you of your failures, not to help you overcome them, but to keep you in the same place. Another reason to guard your weaknesses is that people don't always forget. Even if they don't use the information against you, they may start seeing you differently. If you tell people you have a problem with discipline, they might hesitate to trust you with responsibility. If you admit to struggling with confidence, they may subconsciously stop looking to you as a leader. Whether they mean to or not, people categorize others based on what they know about them. And if you give them the wrong information, they'll create the wrong image of you. Sometimes sharing your weaknesses invites unnecessary advice. The moment you open up, people feel obligated to give their opinions, even when they have no real solutions. And too much advice can be just as harmful as no advice at all. Instead of helping you move forward, it overwhelms you with conflicting perspectives. You end up more confused than you were before, second-guessing yourself instead of taking action. It's also important to remember that not every weakness needs to be discussed. Some things can be worked on in private. Growth happens when you acknowledge your shortcomings and take steps to improve them, not when you broadcast them to the world. The strongest people aren't the ones who talk the most about their struggles. They're the ones who quietly overcome them. When you reveal too much, you also risk becoming dependent on external validation. You start looking for reassurance from others instead of building confidence from within. And the problem with that is, the moment people stop validating you, you begin to doubt yourself. Your strength should come from your own belief in your ability to grow, not from how others react to your struggles. There is power in discretion. When you control the narrative of your own life, you decide what defines you. Your weaknesses don't need to be a public discussion. They should be personal stepping stones towards strength, handled with wisdom, discernment, and quiet determination. Money has a way of changing how people see you. Whether you have a lot of it or very little, once people know your financial status, they start treating you differently. That's why it's dangerous to make your financial situation public knowledge. When people know how much you make, how much you have, or how much you lack, they begin to form opinions that can shape your relationships, your opportunities, and even your peace of mind. If people know you have money, you become a target. Some will see you as their personal bank, always looking for a loan, a handout, or a favor. And the moment you say no, they act like you're selfish or stingy. They don't care how hard you worked for it. They don't care about your responsibilities. They just see what you have and feel entitled to a piece of it. And if you're not careful, you'll find yourself spending more time managing people's expectations than managing your own financial goals. On the other hand, if people think you're struggling financially, they start looking at you differently. They assume you're incapable. They stop including you in certain conversations, and they may even lose respect for you. Some people will distance themselves because they don't want to be associated with someone they perceive as unsuccessful. Others will pity you, which is just as bad. When people see you as needy, they don't treat you as an equal, they treat you as a charity case. When your financial status is known, it invites unnecessary comparisons. People start measuring your life against theirs. If they think you have more, they become envious. If they think you have less, they feel superior. Either way, it creates tension. Money has a way of turning friends into competitors and family members into rivals. The moment people know what's in your pockets, they start making assumptions about your lifestyle, your choices, and even your worth. Financial privacy also protects you from being manipulated. Some people are strategic with their relationships. They align themselves with those they believe can benefit them and distance themselves from those who can't. If someone thinks you have money, they may act like your best friend, not because they genuinely care, but because they see potential for personal gain. And if they think you don't have money, they may overlook you, underestimating your value simply because your bank account doesn't meet their standards. Another reason to keep your financial status private is that money attracts opinions. The moment people know your financial situation, they start giving unsolicited advice. If you have money, they'll tell you how to spend it. If you don't, they'll tell you what you should be doing differently. And the problem with listening to too many opinions is that you start questioning your own judgment. You don't need everyone's input on your finances, especially from people who haven't mastered their own. Money can also impact your sense of security. When people know too much about your financial situation, you may start feeling pressured to live up to their expectations. If they think you have money, you might feel obligated to spend more just to maintain a certain image. If they think you don't, you might feel ashamed, even if you're working hard to improve your situation. Either way, their perception begins to influence your decisions, and that's a dangerous place to be. Your financial status should be something you control, not something that controls you. When people don't know what you have, they can't use it against you. They can't judge you, they can't pressure you, and they can't manipulate you based on assumptions. Privacy gives you power. It allows you to move freely, make decisions without outside interference, and focus on building wealth without distraction. It's also important to remember that money isn't just about numbers. It's about mindset. If you constantly talk about being broke, you reinforce a scarcity mentality. If you constantly talk about having money, you invite unnecessary attention. The best approach is to stay balanced. Work on your finances quietly, make smart investments, and let your results speak for themselves. At the end of the day, financial privacy is not about secrecy, it's about wisdom. It's about protecting your progress, avoiding unnecessary complications, and ensuring that your financial journey is dictated by your own goals, not by the expectations or judgments of others. Success is not just about what you do, it's about how you do it. And one of the most powerful strategies you can use is moving in silence. When you reveal your next move too soon, you expose yourself to criticism, doubt, and unnecessary resistance. People start weighing in with their opinions, and most of the time those opinions are not in your best interest. Some will discourage you, some will steal your ideas, and some will secretly hope you fail. Keeping your next move private protects you from all of that. One of the biggest mistakes people make is announcing their plans before they have taken real action. They feel excited about their ideas and they want to share them with the world, but talking about something and actually doing it are two very different things. When you talk too much, you create the illusion of progress without making any real moves. You get so caught up in the validation from others that you lose the urgency to execute. Before you know it, all that energy fades and you never actually follow through. Another danger of sharing your plans too early is that it invites doubt. You might be 100% confident in your vision, but the moment you tell the wrong person, they start filling your mind with fear. They ask questions that make you second guess yourself. Are you sure that's a good idea? What if it doesn't work? Do you really think you're ready for that? And suddenly what felt like a solid plan starts to feel like a risk you're not sure you should take. Doubt is a seed, and once it's planted, it can grow fast if you're not careful. Then there are those who don't want you to succeed because your success will make them uncomfortable. Maybe they've known you for years and can't handle the idea of you leveling up beyond them. Maybe they tried something similar and failed, so they don't want to see you win. Or maybe they just don't like the idea of you proving them wrong. Whatever the reason, they'll pretend to give you advice, but their real goal is to slow you down. When you move in silence, you take away their opportunity to interfere. Another issue is that people will start expecting results before you're ready to deliver. The moment you tell people what you're working on, they start watching you. They start asking, how's that project going? Did you make any money yet? When are you launching? And if things take longer than expected, you feel pressured. You start rushing the process, making moves based on external expectations instead of internal strategy. And when you move too fast, you make mistakes that could have been avoided if you had just stayed quiet and focused. People are also quick to steal ideas. You might think you're just sharing your vision with a friend or a colleague, but the next thing you know, they've taken your idea and run with it. Maybe they have more resources, better connections, or just a head start, and suddenly, what was supposed to be your move becomes their success. This happens all the time in business, in creative industries, and even in personal goals. The best way to avoid it? Keep your moves to yourself until they are too far along to be copied. When you move in silence, you also protect yourself from unnecessary stress. You don't have to deal with people's opinions, their doubts, or their expectations. You don't have to explain your process, justify your timing, or defend your choices. You can focus 100% on execution, making adjustments as needed without the pressure of outside eyes watching your every step. And when you finally reveal what you've been working on, it's already done and there's nothing anyone can do to stop it. Another reason to keep your next move private is that it allows you to pivot when necessary. Not every plan goes exactly as expected. Sometimes you need to change direction, adjust your strategy, or scrap an idea altogether.